Hello, I'm Vince with We Are Airstream in Chandler, Arizona. Today I want to briefly go over this 2026 Flying Cloud 27-foot. We'll start up front. So obviously this is where you would come down on your hitch. You have your emergency brake here. This is an electric jack. If the jack was to fail on you, Airstream provides you a tool. You would just turn this, and then the tool would go in here, and then you'd remove the tank cover, and you could manually bring your trailer up and down. And then you have your 7-way pin. Again, this would go into your tow vehicle, and this will be charging your batteries, runs your trailer brakes, and your trailer lights. And then on this side, you have a storage compartment with a light. All storage compartments in Airstream trailers have lights. And then you have your batteries, depending on what you choose for your trailer. You also have a port here for external solar if you chose to do that. And then you have your spare tire. There's a full-size spare tire under here. You would pull the pin out, pull this pin, and that bar would just drop down, and then you pull the tire out. And then on this other side, you have a connection for propane. So if you had your propane tanks here and you wanted to supplement a barbecue or a fire pit, you would get a low flow hose, maybe 20 feet, and then you would connect there. And this is where your propane tanks would go. In here, and your Airstream would come with full propane once you purchase it. You would just turn this bar lifts up, and this actually just is very easy to lift up. Where the tanks connect, you do have a regulator here. So you would turn the regulator with this little nipple here facing one tank, or you would turn it to the next tank. And then to know if your tanks are full or not, this is green, and when it starts to turn red, it means you're running out of propane. And then up here you have your front window, and you have a rock guard. And so you would lift this up and then just tighten these arms in, and then you could either open the window from the inside or unlock it here and then pull the window on the outside. You also have 2 screws here for this rock guard. Half a turn with a Phillips head. There's a hinge. This will come away from the glass window, and it's for cleaning purposes. If you want to clean the window or clean behind the rock guard, then you would put it back and tighten it up. As we come around this side, you have 4 stabilizing jacks. They're manual. Airstream provides you a tool. Some people use an electric screwdriver. There's 2 in the front, 2 in the back if you want to stabilize your trailer. We come over here. This is your water heater. It's an access panel if service needed to get to it. You have a 110 outlet here. Then you also have an outside vent. So inside your kitchen, over your cooking surface, you have a vent. So you would remove these plastic tabs, and that vent would, once you turn the fan on inside, it would extinguish smoke or whatnot. For traveling, you want to put the plastic tabs back. We come over here, you have your Airstream screen, and then your door. It is recommended, if you're going to close your door, that you don't close it with the screen in. You would attach the screen door and then shut your door. That will preserve the latches that are plastic. And you have your door latch and handle with your locks. So Airstream provides you with a deadbolt and a regular door lock. The deadbolt, if it's out and you close the door, you'll end up bending this or making a mark. So a lot of times I'll recommend that you paint this red with maybe red fingernail polish or paint. That way the red matches. So if it is out, kids, grandkids, or somebody puts it out, someone you're with, you'll notice it's out, so you won't end up damaging it. Then you also have an outside light here, which is controlled from the inside. And you have your outside manual awning. And we have a video specifically on the manual awnings, so please look for that, and that will go into depth of how you bring the awning out. So we move around to the back. You have a manual awning here, and this one you just basically, if you want to put it in, you bring these around, tuck it in, it rolls up. To bring it out, you just pull it out, and then these just go back around and lock into here. And then this goes up and Velcros inside. You have a backup camera on this trailer. You'll get a monitor when you purchase your Airstream trailer that will plug into your tow vehicle. It'll stay on while you're driving. That camera also has sound back here, so if you're inside, you can hear what's going on back here. Unfortunately, you can't speak to the people in the back. You have storage back here with your tools. To put that back down, you just lift that up, and then these lock into place here. And then as we come around the other side of the trailer, this is just an access panel for your furnace. There's nothing you need to do there. This Airstream, since it has 2 air conditioners, is a 50 amp service. So cord's a little bigger, and this cord does come with your Airstream. This you squeeze and you just pull it out. It's called a smart plug. This just tells us we're plugged into shore power. And then you squeeze and just put it back in. And that's it. You have data port here. So you have cable hookup or a data port for something like Starlink if you chose. You have your city water connection here. Again, this would be if you're in an RV park. You'd have a potable hose. You'd attach, turn the water on. Now you have onboard water. It does have a built-in regulator. And then this is for your black tank flush. So if you were to flush out your black tank, they have sprayers in there, you would hook up a hose. This one you definitely would need to watch as it fills up. You don't want to overfill it. And you want to use a different hose. You would not use your freshwater hose for that. In here is for your freshwater tank. So you have a freshwater tank on board that you would fill up if you wanted to boondock or you were traveling. And you would just put a hose in there and fill that up. And then this is your outside shower. You have hot and cold. Airstream provides you with a shower hose and a sprayer that you would just connect. On this side, you also have a manual awning. It's not quite as big as the front awning. That just comes down and just goes into place here. Just like that. And then goes back up into place, and then you would lock it on the side there. Down below, you have your sewer connections. So Airstream has labeled that for you. The handles also, there's a black handle, gray handle. Remember, the black handle would be for your black tank, which is only your toilet. And then the gray handle would be for everything else, shower and sinks. You would just pull the handle out once you connect the sewer hose, and then you would empty your tanks. This also has a light underneath here. And then you have a little tube for storage if you wanted to store your sewer hose in there. And now we'll go inside and show you some of the features. As we come inside the Flying Cloud, you have some controls here. This control is for the inside light that dims. This is for your awning. You have a light strip in your awning, and it does dim. And then you have more lights in your cabinets. And then this is your battery disconnect. So this would be if you went into storage and you wanted to cut all the power to the trailer, you would hit that button. Therefore, you wouldn't have any parasitic draw. However, when you do that, it still allows your solar to charge your batteries if you're outside. And then as we come in here, we have your stereo. And in your owner's manual and the packet that you get, it goes into depth how to run your stereo. It has Bluetooth, AM, FM, streaming, and whatnot. And then in this cabinet, you have USB connections You have 110. You also have an antenna booster, and it's in here. There's a little black button. If you push it in, a green light will come on. That's for boosting your antenna because you have an antenna on the roof of this. However, when you're not using it, they recommend to turn that off because there's a little bit of a parasitic draw on that. You have your dinette table here. If you want to make this into a bed or a lounge area, you would just lift this up. As you lift it up, it comes out from the wall. There's a switch here. You'd pull this down, that locks in, and then this just comes away from the wall. These tabs then would lay underneath the cushions, and then you'd push the cushions in, make it a lounge or a bed. Put it back, you just bring this up, these lock in here, bring the leg back down, and you're good to go. And you can either travel with the table up or down. It's totally up to you. You have reading lights here. You have a fantastic fan here. There's an on-off button. When you hit that, the fan will open. Then allows you to go through about 4 settings for the fan. This fan sucks the air in and pushes it out. You can also open the fan but not have it on, just if you want to get some fresh air. It also is rain sensing, so if it does rain, it will automatically close and shut off. You come over here. This particular model also, if you want to make this a sleeping area for someone else, you pull this out. This comes out, and then the cushions get moved over, so it makes it a little bit of a bigger sleeping area. And then to put that in, you just push that in. You have more storage under here. You also have a TV. This is hard mounted, so it will not swivel. You have your air conditioner controller, and this controller will control your air conditioning. It will act as a fan if you just want to have fresh air brought through the vents. It also controls, when you get into the modes, it will be your air conditioning. It will be the fan. It also works as a heat pump. So if you're trying to conserve propane, but you want to use electricity, these 2 air conditioners, you could set the temperature up and it'll bring in a warmer air. It won't work as efficiently as a furnace, but you'll be using electricity. And then the next mode is heat pump and furnace, or just the furnace mode. And then you would turn that off. And that's for the air conditioner on this side of the coach. You have refrigerator. It's 12 volt, all electric. The beauty is this can stay charging while you're driving down the road if you're plugged into your 7-way pin in your tow vehicle. You have these little icons here. This one has white on the top. That's for the freezer, white on the bottom. So if you hit that, it will display the temperature. It's 1 through 5, 5 being the coldest. Most people keep the freezer at 5. Most people keep the fridge at 3. If we go over here, we're going to see what the refrigerator. So if you go, I want my refrigerator down, you put it to 3. You always want to make sure traveling that you make sure these are locked in place. We come over here, your kitchen sink. Even though this is light, it's a nice cutting board. It is recommended that you store this under a cushion or under the bed because traveling down the road, this will vibrate and you don't want to damage your flooring. Over here, you have your master controller. This is going to tell you your battery levels. If your batteries are fully charged, it'll tell you your fresh tank. That's the tank on board, how much water you have if you want to boondock. This is in percents, so that's 83% water in the fresh tank here. Gray tank, 0. Black tank, 0. So it'll tell you, and when obviously it creeps up close to 100, you want to empty those tanks. Then you have your water pump here. Turn that on and off. It's recommended to always have it off when you're not using it. Then you have your inverter here, especially if you're boondocking. You can read up on your inverter and what that'll do for you when you're not plugged into shore power. And then you've got your solar controller here. Just tells you what you're drawing in when you're outside in the sun for electricity. Over here we have that fan. Again, you're going to need to take those latches off on the outside for this to work effectively. And then you've got a light here. You've got your cooktop. This is a gas cooktop. And you have, in this particular model, you have a gas cooktop. And this one actually comes with an oven. So you have lights here you can turn on, and then this far right one is for the oven. So you would turn it to the flame, light it up, and then you have an igniter here. You would ignite it, and you can go to your selected temperature for the oven. And then these three are for the burners. So you would, again, line this up with the flame, and then you would ignite when you have propane on board, and each of these would light. You come over here, you have storage in here, but you also have a microwave in this particular model, and it's in here. So it's housed in its own little compartment. More storage. Your fuses and breakers are in here for the trailer. You also have your vents down here. Those vents are for the furnace only. The air conditioner has its own vents, and it's ducted air. And then in the closet, again, you have lights. You have a carbon monoxide detector down here. You have a shower. You always want to connect this for travel, that it's closed. And in the shower, you have a little fan vent, and you can open that when you're not traveling, and you can turn it on with a black button. You always want to have that closed when you're traveling. And then when you come over here, we have the bathroom. In the bathroom, porcelain toilet on the right side on the bottom. There's a pump. If we pull it all the way down, that will fill the bowl up. You have your toilet paper dispenser is up under here. Then over here, light switches, and you have your water heater. All you do is you turn it on. You pick the desired temperature. 123 degrees is the warmest. If you want to bring it down, you just bring it down, and then it'll kick on. It's on demand hot water. It's still, I would give yourself at least 10 minutes or a little bit longer for that water to heat up. When you're not using it, you would turn that off. And as we come in the bedroom, this has a queen bed set up. And then over the bed, you have light switches again that dim. Here you have a TV, and this one does swivel. You have a pull cord, pull that down. The TV will come off the wall for travel. And then for traveling, you obviously want to lock that back in. Now you have another controller in the bedroom because you have two air conditioners in here. This one works just like the front one. Okay, it has the different modes, except this one will not have the furnace on it. It'll just have the heat pump. The furnace is just running off your propane, and so that's in the front. This one will run just the air conditioner. Now, if you have one of these on and it's getting warm, you're going to get air conditioning all through your trailer, whether you have this controller on for air conditioning or the other one. If you really are warm and you want the most amount of air conditioning, you turn both of these on. And then as far as the bed, you have storage under the bed, and you can also lift the bed up and access that, or you can access it from the sides. You have two of these recirculating vents. These are like your home. You have 4 screws. You take that out, and there's a foam insert in there. You can just wash that out, clean it out, depending on how much you're using your air conditioning. And then as we move towards the front, you have your smoke detector. And that concludes the walkthrough on the 2026 Flying Cloud 27 foot.